dog, one child, one youth, one dog, you think big, you. Together we can do this in our continent, you. Think big, you. I say one dog, one child, one youth, one dog, you. Think big, you. Together we can do this in our continent, you. Think big, you.
I will start this recording by emphasizing the quotation of Sir Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey reminded us that anyone different than our race that provides a system or a program of economic freedom, know that it is one of enslavement. Know that it is one of enslavement. This audio is not meant to scare anyone. This audio is meant for enlightenment. Enlightenment. There are a lot of us who are running after small things. One day I was at Trafalgar Square in London, and I hope I'm right with that one, the name. And I was just there standing about 5 minutes, just watching the traffic goes by, the people bustling and hustling. I also did it 42nd Street and Times Square in New York, just standing, watching people going back and forward with consistency. I also did it on Yonge Street in Toronto, Canada, which is their main street. And I also did it in Bogota, Colombia. And it's amazing how the system has programmed us. Every day we get up not even thinking that we are controlled by persons and companies that we are not even imagining. And so I look at the Afro-Caribbean countries and I am looking at the investment, and I ask the global community to go on the internet and research your debt to China. I think the only person did that was our director out of Ghana. I don't think anybody else took up the exercise. You know why? It is not important for you. And these are the things that what you're busy with now will becomes nothing. In other words, you don't even know that your busyness, what is priority for you, will enslave you. What you're now doing, the trajectory that you're now on, what you think is best for you is the same thing that will enslave you. You are not interested in the debt of your country, the debt that your country is in. You're not interested in it. You know why? Because you are politically affiliated. And so once your party is doing it, it is okay. One day, mark my word, Tiashan and people of color, one day, if we do not wake from slumber, if we do not walk the opposite side that we're now walking, we will be not only economically enslaved, because that's where we are now, since we gave birth from physical slavery, we will go back into physical slavery plus economic slavery. And so what you will have today, what you will have in the modern era of slavery are educated slaves. Before, we were not allowed to read and write. But the sophistication of the slavery that will take place, you will have doctoral students mopping floor, babysitting, and sweeping gutters for other race. That is where we're heading. Educated slaves. Your education has been programmed, just like there is a policy to ensure that Africa remains poor. There is also a policy to keep us occupied with trivial things that you think matters today. If you lined up all the retirees in the Afro-Caribbean countries, those who have retired from government, if they were to born again, or if you ask them now, those who are alive, will you do it again? I can sure bet you over 90% will say they will not. They will not do the same thing. They will, because at the end of the day, they have worked and they've been disgraced. They have worked based on the system, but they are being disgraced today. Cannot get their own pension. And the pension that they're getting, they cannot live. And they have given over 40, 50 years of their life. Wasted years, may I add. Tiashans, we cannot continue this model. We cannot pass what we have received down to our children. It's not fair to them. We are more educated. We have more information than all the generations that have passed. We have more money circulating than we can count in this economy. But what seems so impossible to do, if we reason together, it can be done with a click of a button. Hence the reason TAC Diasporan City will solve global problems, because if praying and fasting could have halted slavery, it would have been abolished a long time ago. Money answereth all things. It is money why the world respects America, Russia, China, the UK, Singapore, Dubai. Is money why they are respected. It's not their education. It's not the color of their skin. It's the ability to enact policies that strengthens and build their economy. But the Afro-Caribbean countries, what the policies and the systems that we're putting in is to steal and to corrupt. And the West will allow it. Because as you steal and corrupt your people, you cannot build an economy. You will always be beggars. Look at Nigeria. The giant of Africa But look at the average salary and the condition that most of them are living in. I've been to places in Nigeria that don't have electricity nor water. You're talking about the oil giant of the world. Nigeria, all abundance will need to transform your economy is 5 years. 5 years. And I will turn it into United States of America. 5 years. Because everything that you have is there. You don't lack anything. Hence the reason that we should not go to sleep unless we see the United Nations of or states of Africa, one currency, one military, one parliament, one system with different levels of administration. That is what the world is afraid of, the unification of a people. And that is why they love when you have tribal wars. They love when you kill each other, because you're helping the overall plan of those who believe that we're overpopulated. You're not hurting the West. And that is why they allow the thieves and the rogues in the Afro-Caribbean countries to be elected. Thieves and rogues. They're allowed to be elected. Rape the economy. And we are so myopic in our operation. We are so self-centered. We so love recognition that if as a government I build this bridge, when you come in, you want to break it down and build it again to say it is I. Tahitians, people of color, non-Afro, Caribbean, your government is using your money. It is taxpayers' money that they use. It's not their money. So when they say, oh, look what we have done, look what who have done, it's the people's money you're using. Oh, I have built stadium, I have built this road, I have built this. You build what? Your monies that the projects that you're talking about, you're building, it's the economic model of the new slavery that they're putting us into. That is it. It's a trap. And that is why when they take these millions of dollars, then 25% go into somebody's pocket. Another 20% goes into another person's pocket. And only 5% is left for the project. Economic slavery. We cannot afford, Tahitians, to know all these things and continue. Woe unto us that our life today, for this reason, to transform and to bring to an end economic genocide that were designed by design for us. We have the platform and the technology. Hence the reason we have already put a small committee in place for tax policy document. I should have that policy document by this weekend, says Madam Chair. I've already put a shadow cabinet together. The portfolios were distributed yesterday for ratification, for suggestion, for tweaking, for adding. I've also spoken with the landowners yesterday, and so we are about to concretize that deal. Also the application, so person can begin to get to show their interests or to make their interest known, and the policies within the city. because this is going to be a unique setup that has never done. It's going to be a unique setup. And so we will look to see how the royalty program will work. We will look to see how the royalty program will work. Because this model, PhD students will study for decades. As I said, historians will wonder in shock and awe how a people that did not meet were able to rally behind a vision and a mission. I said, your children shall bless you. We cannot afford to drop the baton. We have dropped the baton too often. Right now, we are behind economically 40 years, probably 50. Africa, you are behind by about 50 years. Look at malaria. Malaria was abolished in America and in the Caribbean about 1950, 1951. And you are still battling. Thousands are still dying from malaria. Africa, wake up. Your problem and enemy is not TAC. We are no different than the children of Israel. They saw and witnessed the miracles that were done. They saw it. They did not hear. They were eyewitnesses of the miracles that were done in Egypt. But a few days later, they are telling the same person who led those miracles, it was better for them to have been in slavery under Pharaoh than to die in the wilderness. Sometimes when you read the script, you can frown and you can get bitter. You can even say how foolish these people were, that they saw with their eyes the last plague where all the firstborn of Egypt died. You read it and they saw it, but yet still they are still questioning the wisdom of the infinite. Just like you in the global community of Tiashans, a table has been set, an invitation has been given, and a way out of Egypt into a land of prosperity using the futuristic technology. But all what you can see is obstacles because the journey that we're on is not familiar. It's the same thing. The journey that the children of Israel, or the direction and the path that they were going, it was not familiar. It's not even a choice that they would have made, because the Red Sea is in front and two mountains on either side. Where are you going? The infinite says that my glory I shall not give to another. And the way I see things are far beyond you. Can you follow instructions? The same people. Have you heard them in TAC? Abundance. You cooked us. Abundance. TAC is a scam. Have you heard them? But I don't really pay any mind, because that is expected. Those people who were murmuring from Egypt, they never saw Canaan. Them and their children died. That's why the journey took so long. TAC, we should have been at 50,000 today, no less. I said we should have been at 50,000, but the mistake that we made, we brought some people that should have not been on the ship at this time, because It's all about now for them. They don't have no patience. It's all about, let me eat it now. Give it to me now. I can't wait for tomorrow. And so they are throwing away one tap for 2 cents and 3 cents that should be sold for 50,000. When the children of Israel left Egypt, they were compensated for all the years that were being wasted. The Tiashans that are now, who is in possession of wealth, because the script already identify that the poor you shall be with you always. They have it, but they don't know it. Just like the first adopters of Bitcoins. They have it, but they did not know it. But one day, they will be like the gentleman in London who is looking for his hard drive, digging up every dung heap he can find in the UK, looking for a hard drive. The same shall be your end, Tiashans. Those of you who believe that the journey is impossible, you are not creating or you're not saying anything new. What you're saying, you're just bringing it to pass on yourself, that the poor you shall have with you always. This is chief abundance. May we arise and awaken to the period where the greatest transformation of wealth is taking place. May we arise to the challenge that when we should have gone, history would read in our favor that we were the ones that stood in the gap and changed the trajectory of a people that have been made to and reduced as slaves. This is Chief Abundance. Good day.